And good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to UndercoverET. Guys, this video today is a little bit different. You may feel like it's a bit of a rant video, but hopefully the message is clear by the end of it. And guys, I really wanted to do this video and I feel like the timing is perfect, okay? It's all about what it takes to be a real UFO researcher and an advocate for disclosure. The pushback that we receive, the evidence that is hard to come by but does come in, and the overwhelming amount of deceit, deception, whatever you want to call it, within the community. I'm telling you guys, this genre is probably one of the most poisonous genres out there. The community is so hell-bent on their way of thinking or the narrative, okay? You'll notice on my channel, guys, and I am a small channel still, but ultimately anyone with a couple of thousand subs will always have good guests on the show if they're willing to roll with the right questions and stick with the narrative that's at hand. And so there's a reason why I only get so many guests on the show. And we'll start with that, actually. So interview-wise, who have I interviewed? Robert, a custodian file, multiple times. One of the only bigger channels that really I work with really closely. Okay, John at Latchkey Hustle, even Cosmic Road. I've had him on the show. Jack, brilliant guy. I've had December Star, Gemma. I've had her on the show. Telephone call interview. Who else have I had on? Mark Cartwright. I've had him on twice regarding his NDEs. Jason Sands. I've had Jason Sands on. We've spoken about quite a bit. It was an emotional one actually. So check that interview out if you haven't watched it. But my point is, guys, I've interviewed all of these people. And all of these people, including Karen Ricks and Thomas, by the way, 3 parts, all of these people will tell you with 100% certainty that every interview I've ever done with them has not been scripted in any way, shape or form. No pre-planned conversations. I talk about topic. I say, let's talk about that topic, and we get into it. There's no pre-questions made. I literally look, listen, and if I feel like I've got to ask or challenge something, I will. That's how I work. Complete transparency, guys. And this is where I get a little bit miffed off with what's going on in the UFO community. The reason why I'm showing you this is because it was a topic we spoke about yesterday. Mark Christopher Lee comes out with a personal confession, okay, and it's regarding his inside source, which apparently cut communications with him. Therefore, he felt he was being used as maybe a part of a psyop to bring this topic out there, but then to shut him down, right? Ultimately, that's what he felt. I supported him yesterday. I did support him. I didn't want him to have help. You know, I'm sad that he's going through health issues, if that's what he's going through. I felt like I wanted to support and act like a support cage and defend the ones that are trying to push for disclosure. Naturally, because that's the goal. I'm an advocate for disclosure, guys. I'm a UFO researcher. When I say a UFO researcher, guys, I go out into the field, I film, I analyse my footage and yours, stay in crop circles, I visit druid circles, I go to different countries, I'll do whatever it takes to get the information out there. That's what a UFO researcher is and does. Call me a video analyst, that's not just what I do. Okay, so I'm very busy and videos are very difficult to make when you're the editor, the producer, the promoter, everything, right? I do it all on my own. So I say that because it's going to be relevant later on. But in a nutshell, the questions that I now have stemmed from an interview that was done last night on UFOs around the world, and that's what we're going to take a look at right now. Mark's on the show, UFOs around the world. Sorry, mate, I forget your name, but I don't watch often, I'll be honest with you. I don't. I just keep up to date with the latest as much as I can, and your name doesn't come up often. It is what it is, but we're here now, okay, and you've made it onto my channel, so well done. So this one's titled Mark Christopher Lee Interview Trump UFO Speech Bombshell, Source Name Potentially Revealed plus Retro. Okay, and straight away I was like, well, potentially revealed means that it's not revealed, right? Because if it's going to be revealed, that would be the headline to get people in, to draw people in. It's revealed. But it wasn't used that way. And I see that he's trying to keep his integrity for doing so. Well done. But things get a little bit spicy, guys. Okay, check this clip out. I'm going to just play you a short clip.
Potentially could be to do with big. I'm going to have a guess, Matt, that maybe one of your sources could be big. I don't expect you to comment or anything like that. I think this person fits the bill. He's high up.
Yeah,
He's been in the
they do.
forefront.
That's mind blowing. That's all I say. It's mind blowing.
So
Uh,
that's. I think one of them is Bigelow, and if it's
mhm.
connected, maybe we'll talk privately. I'm going to put it out there. I think one of your sources is Bigelow. That would be the
Yeah,
one that's
yeah,
been in people's face and
yeah.
it's sort of disappeared. But I've got a bit more information on that. That's which I'm going to go into.
Wow.
So, oh, sorry, this was back on December the 4th, that
Mhm.
message.
To be honest,
So, I, like I said, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that. But if it is
yeah.
Bigelow, I can understand why you may be scared. He's a powerful person in the background and stuff like that.
That's and then people don't understand that. And I said that why because yeah, I'm scared. This person is powerful, big organization, links to direct to the president who's at war at the moment. I'm just a little guy from Hertfordshire. Uh, yeah, there's that to it, you know. But I also want to say that I'm getting a lot of hate from people saying I've done this for to make money and self-promotion and stuff. And it's like, oh God, really? I've nearly posted my I might do actually my earnings from my films from the last 12 months. And it's about $8,000 in total. That's all. That's gross before 20% off my distributor, and that's not profit. That's just income I've had from film sales. And I posted it on. You can see the graph. Most of my money came in November because I had a big hit with a film about the.
It goes on to talk about how well his big Illuminati film did on Amazon. Even though he's just said he made about £8,000 on his films, right? Or $8,000. Look, the reason why I was pointing at the camera, and I'm going to go back to it,
To make money and self-promotion and stuff. And it's like, oh. But I also want to say that I'm getting a lot of hate from people saying I've done this for to make money and self-promotion and stuff. And it's like, oh God, really? I've nearly posted my I might do actually my earnings from done this for to make money and self-promotion and stuff. And it's like, oh God, really?
honestly, your body language to me tells me you're lying and you actually didn't feel like you made enough money and you just wanted to make more by digging into it deeper. That's what it tells me. I'm sorry to say it, Mark. And it's not like I haven't backed you. I've backed you all year. I spent £100 of my own money to travel to London to see your documentary, to give you support. Even though I knew the documentary weren't great, you said it yourself. You know the edit, the budget weren't really there, and it was just a lot of him walking around on the streets whilst with a voiceover. But I wanted to show support. That's the point. Anyone who's pushing for disclosure in the UK, we need a bigger voice. Unfortunately, this guy isn't it. You know. Also, he said he's scared about a potential. Well, he said he's scared about his source because his source is in high places. But as far as I'm aware, and as far as you've told us, he just cut contact with you, and that's started bringing you some doubts. But I don't think you've actually had any pushback or threats or been told not to share the information. And now, Chappie on UFOs around the world, apologies, mate, I've forgotten your name. But now you're saying, or you've had a punt or a guess, supposedly, right? So we've got to now take your interview at face value that it wasn't pre-planned and you didn't have a discussion before this. You've had a punt based on the research you've just done, which, if you want to watch it, guys, please do. And you've said Bigelow, Robert Bigelow, and he's gone, oh, wow. Wow, I can't believe you managed to pull that one out the hat. Come off it, man. Come off it. If this guy was scared, he wouldn't be smiling throughout the whole interview, and he wouldn't have blatantly just said, yeah, you're right. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't add up. I see right through the bullshit, and maybe Mark Christopher Lee is just a genuinely nice guy and he's just got all this wrong, right? But you're not, look. At the moment, disclosure is happening. this genre is the most poisonous genre of all genres, okay? The misinformation is going through the roof. Why? Because disclosure is approaching. The war is on. And you cannot pussyfoot around and be like, I'm scared because he's cut contact with me. You're either in or you're out. There's a saying in this country, and it probably is a saying that's well known around the world. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Because this topic is starting to fire up, guys. And this is my message to you, Mark. You may be a nice guy. I feel like you're leaning back there because you did want to make money out of this following, and you did want to make money out of it. You did want to get a bit of clout out of this. That's just me, based on your movements, right? Now, you guys don't have to take that at face value at all. That's just based on what I think. But you've got to ask the question, how is it this guy doesn't want to name his source, and in the same hand basically says, yeah, what you've just said is correct? It just doesn't add up. Now, not at any point does Mark Christopher Lee in this interview say with 100% certainty it is Bigelow. But he's either insinuating it is Bigelow with the reaction he gave when Matey Boy guessed, right? Or he's insinuating someone who's completely innocent of this, maybe Robert Bigelow. I don't think he is. And that wouldn't be fair either. Do you see what I'm saying? It's really, really important, Mark, that if you're not going to tell us who it is, you at least confirm who it's not. Okay? And if you're genuinely scared, then you would never, ever have given that reaction. Never. So I'm calling bullshit. And I'm sorry, mate, but I have to. Now, why am I even doing this video? Because it got a bit spicy last night. I got in the comments. And like always, and like I've always done on this channel, I want to keep my integrity and I want the truth. Nothing but the truth. And I never show evidence unless I can back it up. I never say anything unless I can prove it's worth looking at, guys. This might be worth looking at. I'm trying to take out the bullshit and get you guys to see what I'm dealing with as an advocate for disclosure. Even with people that are in the UK that likely have the same goal, but still run with narratives to build a story to make mullah, guys. Let's have a look at what is said in the comments. Alright, so I started off by saying I support any push for disclosure from the UK, but I'm done messing around with anyone who uses the word source. It's not a dig, but 99% of people who have a source turn out that we never find out who it is and never find out why it was said. Mark, if you have been misinformed, it's only right you put the record straight and inform us who we should be concerned about and who the potential threat is. Threat being the misinformation which is guiding us the wrong way, guys. It could lead to very big consequences. I get you are concerned, but this is the wild, wild west, as Dr. Shipe always says. To say nothing is to agree to conceal the identity of the ones you claim to be misleading the public, making you as guilty as them. I have people in the US who do not want me to show what I show. So what? I don't owe them anything, nor should I be intimidated by someone I've never met over the pond. The UK needs stronger representation if people are going to take up the fight. That's just me being honest, guys, okay? Said what I said. UFOs around the world does respond. The thing is, you clearly never watched the video as proof was shown. Yeah, I mean, what proof was shown? You may have come up with some proof, educated guess as to who it might be, but I don't care about any of that. I don't actually care about any of that. The fact is, the name was mentioned, Mark gave the reaction he gave, and that's where the question mark lies, okay? So he goes on to say, the thing is, you clearly never watched the video as proof was shown. I got up to the bit where Mark said he didn't want to give too much away and figured he wasn't giving it away after that. So what's the name? It's me who provides the evidence, not Mark. This isn't clickbait, pal. I don't do that shit. The question mark is, you can't just 100% claim something, if you know what I mean. Well, you can 100% claim something if you've got evidence, so no, I don't know what you mean. I put no name equals clickbait, mate. Meaning no name coming from Mark Christopher Lee equals clickbait, mate. Sorry, but that's all that's coming out of this chat is waffle. I know, you put the word potential in there being in the title, but you couldn't answer the above question, could you? Mate, we don't want more riddles. And this is what I'm talking about. The UFO community has had enough of the BS, the riddles, the my source this and my source that. We don't want it, and I will call everyone out. This is why I don't get big guests, because I don't run with the narrative, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is why it's relevant. 100% you have to be able to back claims. What's your point here? That's what I said in response to the claim question, because I really didn't understand it. And then he says, if you watched the video before commenting, you'd see that. Lazy fucker, laugh out loud, no time for that shit. I get that, right? If someone's being lazy and not doing the research properly, fine. Why would you give them time of day? But my question still stands, kid. If I'm not denying it, just say it's Bigelow. Alright, so we're going to go down here a little bit because other people in the comments were feeling frustrated. A, because they didn't have the time to watch the full interview and they just wanted the answer. And B, there was a lot of waffle before that answer came. Okay, it was something like 30 minutes or something. I don't know. It was quite a well into it, right? I just read between the lines based on what he was saying and I knew that he weren't going to give us a direct answer, which didn't happen, right? Alright, so C Dazzle 1979 says, guys, sorry, I'm a bit busy. Don't mean to be rude, but at what point does he give the name? It's a fair question. We get one yes. So he's not answering the question. Matey says timestamp, question mark. Around the midsection, it's only 45 minutes. Surely you can skip through. He's not being very helpful. Again, I apologise. Loved your videos and content. I want to watch the whole thing through, but this episode is just frustrating as you are stringing it out as long as possible for no reason. It makes it hard to watch, honestly. It does, because anyone who's clicking onto it are already following the story. They don't want to hear about how Mark got into it, all the lead up to it. It just doesn't make no sense. People wanted to skip through that. As a content creator that's very, very busy myself, I also wanted to just skip to the part, and I did watch it up until the point, like I said, where he was like, you know, I don't want to say too much. And I was like, well, boom, he's not going to tell us. Right? And so you can say what you like about me being lazy. At the same time, you're not really staying true to your word in the comments. You're saying that the answer and the proof is there. And I'm saying, well, the answer's not there because it's not come from Mark Christopher Lee's mouth. And to be honest with you, the body language tells me volumes. Anyway, this is where it gets a little bit iffy. I replied to C Dazzle because at this point I felt sorry for him. You'll be waiting a while, laughy face. I asked and got no direct answer. Just riddles about some proof. Doesn't even make sense as we are asking for a name, not proof. UFOs around the world. You create content. You have a YouTube channel. If this is how lazy you are, then your channel must be dog pal. I'm not too sure if that was directed at me or at C Dazzle. He didn't tag us, he just put this comment in. C Dazzle said, whoa, I just said it, I was busy. I actually complimented your channel and other content. Way to lose subscribers, champ. See ya, good luck. Right? No response from UFOs around the world. He don't give a fuck about his audience, clearly, right? But I had to respond in case that was to me, because this has gone beyond ridiculous now, right? So I put, if, I'm not denying it, the words that are coming out of Mark Christopher Lee's mouth. Just say if it's Bigelow. F me, if Mark is scared, then I revert back to my original statement, which was the post that I first put out. The UK needs stronger people on this. This is not a dancing school. There are actual fights and pushback. That in itself requires those who get involved to fight and push back. Don't start a fight with me, pal. You guessed. Mark's not denying your guess, but he's not confirming it either. That's still a riddle. Don't tell me to read between the lines either, because my question will still stand. Why not just confirm it if you're going to basically say it, but not? F me, yet again. Right? I can verify my claim regarding Bigelow is showing the evidence and did a video on this. Mark is working on doing the same. There's also another podcaster sitting on this information and they need to speak up. I don't doubt that Biggs knows stuff and is deep into it. But if Mark is going to disclose his source, then just do so. They would have correspondence, right? Which is all the proof we would need. There's no point slinging mud at me when not at any point in this interview did Mark tell us with 100% certainty who it was. He thanked you for mentioning those names, but doesn't want to say it word for word. Laugh out loud, come on. If I were Biggs now and I didn't want Mark to disclose my name, I do believe it would be too late, given his name is all over this interview. Something doesn't add up, in my opinion. I then made another comment somewhere in the comments, and I said to him, I went and visited Mark. I spent £100 of my own money, went to London to visit him to support UK disclosure. It really wouldn't have mattered who it was at that point. We just need eyes on this in this country, right? I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to support whoever was willing to do it. I told you in another comment, I went there, spent money, met the guy. He seemed genuine, supported him for the whole year. What have you done in regards to supporting Mark Christopher Lee? That's what I was saying. He said, created about 10 content creators in the UK who now have their own big following on TikTok. Created a movement in the UK. You have no idea what I've done in the background. You really have no clue. Well, mate, this is the first time you've made it onto my channel, and it's not for the best reason. So if I don't have a clue about what you've done, it's probably for good reason. You just haven't made it to my desk, mate. I don't bang out free videos either. I have a full-time job and 5 kids. Why I do well is my research and knowledge from over the years. I ain't a grifter on a niche that I know all about. I've actually spent the majority of my life researching the topic. Fair enough. You work full-time. You bang out a few videos a day. I know how hard that is. I know it's a lot of work. But I did come out and say this. I never said you did. As in, I never said that he does bang out 3 videos a day. I said that I don't bang out 3 videos a day because I'm busy as F. And I've explained already why I'm so busy in this video. I was just explaining why I didn't watch the interview in full to answer his lazy comment. To act like you don't know I have a channel or talk shit about it says a lot. You know what, dude? I reached out to you ages ago. I even sent you my number and offered to help with editing. Back when he was asking for help with editing. You never got back to me. You clearly have an opinion on my channel. Perhaps my research you can't make sense of, which in itself is concerning given your level of knowledge you say you have. I reached out because this topic is full of bullshitters. I started my channel because too many creators were doing piss poor jobs of showing UAP evidence. Clearly, everyone is out for themselves. So be it. But I bet my channel and my community will be more than fine. And that's how I left it, right? And then I said on X that obviously I'm going to keep my integrity and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is asking the right questions, showing the right evidence, and raising awareness. That's what I'm all about. Couldn't give a shit about anyone else and their agenda. And honestly, I've given a lot of support to Mark. I have. Just like Skywatch Signal, I'm going to leave you guys with messages that I've sent and received from Mark Christopher Lee, which aren't many, but I'm going to show you anyway. Hi Mark, how are you, mate? This was August 13th, 2025. Thanks, mate. Not great. How are you? So, mate. About the same, really. I heard you had some threats made on you. Is that right? I was just wondering how things are going in the disclosure department and if that was the reason. And I'm sorry to hear you're having a hard time. No response. January 19th, several months later. Morning, Mark. Hope you're doing well. I'll be adding your latest update to my video later. But I just wanted to ask you, is there anything you can share with me privately that will add credibility to your source? I wouldn't need to share any info publicly. I just want to know if I should be giving out that date with enthusiasm or skepticism. No response. Moving on to the 8th of March. So, this month. Morning, Mark. Just a friendly warning. Do not trust Skywatch Signal ever. He refused to put my evidence clear as day through a program which tests for CGI AI. He refuses to promote any credible interviews, and unless it fits his narrative, he won't help you. Considering I helped start his following and used to share his stuff each week, the guy is full of empty promises and never shows much interest in helping the British push disclosure. He has his own people and he will stick with them. And then, yesterday, I send this. Remember when I asked you about your source, bud? Laugh out loud. I'll update my audience today. It's not your fault, and clearly this is a controlled disclosure planned over years and years. I invite you to come on the channel. In fact, the record needs to be put out there, bud. Right? No response. And obviously, he'd already planned to go on UFOs around the world. Okay, so he didn't want to make an appointment with me. And I get it. I absolutely get it. I understand why. I would ask too many hard questions. I would challenge everything. That's why. But like I say, guys, you can ask any one of the people I've interviewed over the years and they'll tell you all the same thing. I've never pre-planned any of it. Never. And I never will. I just want to be transparent. And if I feel like a question's got to be asked in the moment, the person who's sitting on the opposite side of me needs to be ready to answer. And they're going to be judged. They're going to be looked at. They're going to be... It's all about knowing whether we can find out the truth. All right? I've got people around me and they can tell me things and I'll believe them because they've already proven themselves to me as trustworthy people. So guys, I ask you for your support on this. It's very hard to be an advocate for disclosure in a genre that is so overwhelmingly disappointing, full of lies and deceit, and at the top of that tree sits a golden truth that we all know already. These things are real. They fly above and below our houses. You know it. I know it. We're just waiting for people to catch up. That's the reality of it. Guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Sorry if you think it was a rant video, but I just wanted to show you, like I said, the challenges that people like myself face. And most content creators, and I totally respect them for it, stay in their lane. They record, they talk about what they record, that's all they talk about. They don't want to get involved in the politics of it. But unfortunately, if you're going to step into the world of UFOs and disclosure, it comes hand in hand. The fight will come to you if you don't bring it to them. That's what I believe, guys. Like and subscribe if you can get behind that, and leave all your comments. I will be reading them, and hopefully it's not going to get as spicy as it did last night. Thank you so much. Take care. All the best. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.